Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying out its prayer. Why are we so ashamed to be alive? Break the chains and our freedom's ours to take. Look behind your back. Chase the light when the world is getting darker. I have a dream where love's the only side. So take my hand, join the army of the shadows. Going harder, we are more than numbers. Standing in this shade. Going louder, we are all one color. Standing.
Happy Saturday, everybody. My name is 12 Gauge. Welcome to my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative. If this is your first time here, thank you for joining me this Saturday morning. That song just gets me going for some reason. I can't stop listening to it once it starts. I just want to sit there and zone out and listen to the song. Hey Aquarius, hey Rondi, hey Cash H. How you been, buddy? Long time no see. I hope you guys are doing well. I have a slideshow that I want to present to you guys. It's called Thinking for a Change. And it's kind of totally different than true crime. So, anytime I do these kind of self-help stuff, I don't get a lot of people in here, so maybe that's a blessing. And I don't get a lot of kickback either, so that's a blessing for sure. So let's go ahead and start this. 12:45 in the UK. All right. How you been, Cash? I've seen um some of your stuff that you've been doing. You're a hell of an artist, bro. I like that you collaborate those thoughts and emotions into like a artistic form. Hello, Infinity. Thank you for joining us again. So, this is an introduction to problem solving. So, when two people discuss a situation where some agreement must be made that is mutually acceptable to both of them, so that is negotiating. And this PowerPoint is it's really generic and easy to follow, so that a lot of people can understand it. I didn't want to bust out all the big names and big words and all that stuff. So because we do have some people in our chat that big words kind of scare them, so I don't want to scare anybody off. um Anyways, let's see. When you negotiate something from somebody else where you're trying to problem solve, you want to tell them, hey, let's come to an agreement, let's come to a compromise. If it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you. And in our world today, that is hard to maneuver, actually, because for whatever reason, we have problems with people having to be right. And if you show somebody that they're wrong for whatever reason, they can't take the constructive criticism to say, okay, you might be right, but I'm going to stand on my beliefs. So let's move on with it. Okay. Hey, Frank Kim Beans, how you doing, buddy? Good. Next slide. Decide if you and the other person are having a difference of opinion. You tell the other person what you think about the situation, and you ask the other person what he or she thinks about the situation. You listen objectively to his or her answer. You know, the word objective means that you're neither for nor against. It means that you have a neutral stance on whatever you're listening to. So you're listening objectively. You think about why the other person might feel this way. That's empathy. And you suggest a compromise. If it was only this easy, if it was only this easy, you know, chat, can y'all interact with me and let me know some of your thoughts on your beliefs, why it's not so easy to come to a compromise in 2025? Whether it be online, whether it be person to person, whether it be on the telephone, whether it be employee to employee. I mean, what in your belief makes it so hard to go through these 6 stages to suggest a compromise and accept it? Y'all have any thoughts on that? Okay, I like that. Cash. COVID was not helpful. Many changed. I like that. So you believe the isolation kept other people away from one another, so we became very survivalistic? Okay, emotional load. Let's see what Aquarius has to say. People can't agree to disagree anymore and move on. They always have to argue who's right. Okay. Texting can be difficult to get thoughts out. Very good. Community split spirit lost over the years too. Hey, these are some good answers. Some good answers. You know, it's when we're negotiating something, whether it be you're negotiating to buy a car, you're negotiating to buy a home, or you're negotiating what you want to be paid for working. I mean, these are the steps that you go through in any situation like that. And hopefully, at a point, you can suggest a compromise. You can reach somewhere in the middle. Well, here's some homework for y'all. Review the situation where you practiced the skill. Read when you did the skill, where and with whom, and complete thinking check-in for the homework. Read your answer to the 4 questions in that section. What did you do to follow each step of the skill? Be specific and describe another situation where you will use the skill again. And here is kind of like an artistic rendition. Hey Frank, I asked you to come up last night. Would you like to come up right now? Because you weren't in the chat last night. You said you had fallen asleep. Would you like to come up to and discuss some of this stuff with me? I like this as well, Cash. You said, Rondi, yes, context in text form is hard to portray, and just one word changes meaning not intended. Human to human, face to face, you have more context to words. Very good, Cash. Very good. I agree with that as well. You know, here as we're looking at this, you have the conflict cloud, new ways to think and act. You have that aha moment. You have problem solving skills, you have social skills, and you have cognitive self change, which the word for cognitive is basically changing the way you think. So having that aha moment, you're thinking, okay, here's the conflict, here's the aha moment. Oh, I've been down this road before, or I always do this. Let me try a different way. And then socially, you're thinking, well, I can't just duck and run. I can't just act like I don't like people or anything like that. Let me go ahead, you know. Okay, no problem, Frank. I didn't realize your live was so soon, buddy. I thought it was at 2, but that's fine. You can come up anytime. You know that. And you're right, Cash. It's easier said than done. You're right. I mean, we would like to be able to we would be like to be able to have a conflict happen. We have that aha moment, that light bulb goes off, and we'd like to sit there and think, man, I've done this before. Let me try something different. When it comes to problem solving, there's going to be 5 steps that I'm going to identify here in a minute. And but we don't always go slow our position down where we learn this situation, this cognitive self change, excuse me, to the point where it becomes automatic. So that's what the conflict is a lot of times is we don't rely on our own intuitions, you know. Thank you, Aquarius, for that. Thank you for that. So there's the little illustration, and here's the conflict cycle. A lot of times we have the problem, we have warning signs, we have an action, and we have a consequence. And we don't think of these things quickly as it's happening. We think of them after the fact. After we have to pay consequences, we're thinking about how these situations come into our lives. Okay, Cash, that's fine. What do you mean I do? You want to come up? If you want to come up, the link's in there. So we have the problem. Let me give you a problem. Somebody give me a problem in the chat. Give me a problem. Y'all type something out in the chat that's a problem. Anything. Come on. I know there's a lag, so I got to be patient and wait. So, what's the problem? Good. Okay. So, that's good. You're eating. So, you're hungry. The problem would be okay, you're drinking. All right, let's go with the drinking. The problem is you're drinking. What are some of the warning signs that you identify that you're drinking too much or that your drinking has become a problem? What would be some warning signs? Because we're self aware. It's not like we're clueless about our own issues or our own mindset. We're self aware, but we can't fix ourselves a lot of the times based on the inability to have faith in our own problem solving skills. But I'm going through this so that we can kind of slow it down for you in order to change your thinking. So I was there too, Cash. I had a drinking problem myself. So I'm gonna put my stuff up here because I don't want to throw anybody out there like that. So my problem would be drinking. What were the warning signs? Well, I was having conflict in my relationships. I was having conflict at work because I'd be showing up hungover. I'd be having conflicts, with my mental health. I'd be having conflict with my irritability, my anger, my desire to even live life amongst other people. Um, I would have irritability, restlessness, confusion, foggy brain, all of that. So Those would be my warning signs back when I was drinking. Okay, so the actions I would take, I'm gonna go with the conflict cycle first, okay, and then I'm gonna go with the healthy course. So the actions I would take would be, well, you know what? I'm not gonna drink today. I'm gonna hydrate. I'm gonna eat some greasy food. I'm gonna I'm gonna try to do something today that's not gonna take me to drinking. So um and that would last. I would tell myself and I would tell everybody that would listen, hey, I'm not gonna drink today. I'm done. I'm done. I'm hurting too badly. I got to get rid of this hangover. Let me go to a buffet or to a pizza place. Let me scarf down on food so that it can soak up the alcohol. Blah blah blah. And then I'd be telling people, no, I'm not going to drink today. I'm good. But every time that I told people I wasn't going to drink, I was setting myself up for a reservation. So whenever I met an obstacle in my thinking, that would always be an option because by telling people I wasn't going to drink, that set that motion in my head. Okay, well, drinking is always an option because it's a problem solving skill that you have, 12 gauge, when you deal with an obstacle in life that either wants to enhance the happiness or you're going through some kind of emotional trauma that is reenacting itself. So in my case, it could be, you know what, we're going to go celebrate so and so's um, 30th birthday. You know what I mean? So, and yeah, that's a good one too, Frank. That's a good one also. I would do that myself. We're going to go celebrate someone's 30th birthday. Okay. So the consequence for that, obviously, would I'd show up, they'd offer me a drink. I'd say, no, I'm not going to drink. I'd fight it off until my mouth would start watering and everybody coming up around me kind of high siding, making little jokes about, oh, you're not drinking tonight? Oh, you're going to not drink tonight? And guess what? I say, just one. Come on, just give me just one. I can handle it. And then, like I told you, relationship problem. My girlfriend would be there. I'm going to help you through it, baby. I'm not going to let you drink. Okay, please don't let me drink. And then she'd be, the moment that I reach for the drink, she'd be like, baby, I thought, no, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm only going to have this one. And then it'd be an internal fight between us both because I'm asking for her accountability, but at the same time, the more intoxicated I become, the more belligerent I become because I view her as nagging. The nagging would become my personal struggle to keep me getting inebriated. Then I'd pick a fight so she'd leave, and then I'd be like, okay, finally, I'm free to just enjoy myself. Let's party. Let's celebrate this 30th birthday, you know? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because I'm not talking about quitting. I was at the level, Frank, where I couldn't drink responsibly. I couldn't. I couldn't. Yeah. I mean, and I know in other countries they don't have the alcoholism that we have here in the States because as far as I know, they don't try to condemn it as much as they do here in the States, you know? I could be wrong. But as I'm telling you, I would view this person as my problem. The consequences would be I'd get into an argument with her, I'd get inebriated, I'd get, you know, I'd hook up with somebody that night that I didn't intend on hooking up with. I'd go home the next morning and there would be a lot of consequences to face. And then there'd be a problem. The problem would be my life is unmanageable. I don't know how to deal with life on life terms. So therefore, I'd continue this cycle over and over and over and over all day long, every day, all day. It wouldn't necessarily even have to do with drinking. It could be I got an electric bill that I got the termination notice in the mail. The warning signs, my palms get sweaty. I start to get anxious. I start to get overwhelmed. You know, um, My action is I call people to help me pay this bill because I've already spent too much on alcohol or partying or whatever and didn't pay my bill, so I'm irresponsible. And the consequence is what? I wake up one day and the electricity's shut off. And then here comes the problem. So I hope that y'all get that. I hope that you get that because it's kind of simplistic, but for a lot of people, they don't really understand the conflict cycle. And the next one is the problem solving skills that I was talking about earlier. First, you have to stop and think. You state the problem to yourself. Okay, well, was the problem really telling myself I wasn't going to drink, or was the problem of me not really having anything other constructive to do than go to a birthday party to celebrate somebody's 30th birthday? Set a goal and gather information. What am I really going to do today that's beneficial towards a difference in my life? Because when I would, and I'm not trying to make this about drinking, okay? This is just an example. It's an easy example to use. I'm not trying to make it about drinking. You can put anything you want in that problem. And we also call that the activating event. But you can put anything in that. So don't just take it about drinking. It could be spending money too much, overeating, overthinking, worrying, shame, guilt, anxiety, all these things you can put in that problem area. So you set a goal and gather information. So you set a goal for yourself today, like, okay, instead of sitting around all day, I'm going to get up and actually go enjoy nature. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to take the dog to the dog park. I'm going to go window shop if I don't have any money. I'm going to go do something productive. I'm not going to sit in this house all day long and reminisce about all my problems that I'm sitting there trying to solve that I don't have a clue how I'm going to do it. You think of choices and consequences. Choices and consequences go hand in hand. With every choice we make, there is a consequence we must pay. So it could be a positive consequence, it could be a negative consequence. It doesn't always have to be doom and gloom. So Salty said she was hungry, you know? So you get some food, you're hungry, you get some food, you feel full, positive consequence, problem solved. So the the other part would be you make a plan. Okay, well, I ate breakfast, and most people eat lunch at a certain time. I'm going to eat me a snack or have a protein shake or something. And then I'm going to eat dinner. So there's your plan. So you don't become hungry. So you set yourself up a routine. And this routine is going to enable you to do it and evaluate the success that you have with it. You know, most times whenever we're setting ourselves up a routine, we want to be successful. We want to do something different, whether it be learning something, whether it be trying something for the first time, going on a trip, anything like that. We want to be able to evaluate whether we made the right choice. If the consequences is more positive than negative, hey, chances are you made the right choice. If you didn't enjoy it, well, at least you tried it, right? At least you tried. Yes, eating can be an addiction. I've been there, Cash. You stop one and you pick up another. You know, I stopped drinking and all of a sudden I started eating. And then I kept blowing up, blowing up, blowing up. And that became a self esteem issue. Here's a breakdown of the skills. Number one, you have to stop and think. Step one, you stop. You pay attention to your warning signs, your physical reactions of the problem, your risk, your thoughts, your risk, your feelings. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? And how are you reacting to these things? Like I said, you're either irritable, restless, discontent, you're frustrated, you're anxious, you're angry. These are the warning signs. Step two, you think, you reduce your risk. You might be quiet, get some space, and calm down. You know, I've said this in other lives before. There's three basic things that you can do. You can back up, breathe, and be quiet. For a lot of people, that's hard to do because we're always trying to solve our own problems. We might not know how to do it. We might not have confidence that we can even achieve it, but we're always trying to solve ourselves. One thing that I tell my clients, and I've told them throughout my career, if you believe that you're broken, you act like you're broken, and therefore you stay broken. You get what I say when I mean that? I said that backwards. You know what I mean when I say that? If you think that you're broken, you act like you're broken, and therefore you stay broken. Because a negative thought, a negative action, and a negative feeling cannot give you a positive result. You know? Sometimes you got to get rid of these labels. I don't like to be labeled. That's why I guess whenever I talk about people name calling is a label to me. And it could be positive or negative. You have to be very mindful of the labels you respond to because some people have been responding to these labels for a very long time. They may have started when you were younger. You could have had somebody saying you were stupid, you weren't going to ever achieve anything, you were slow, you were not pretty, you're not this, you're not that. Well, you know what? You hear that enough, even though somebody challenges those belief systems, unless you challenge them and get a new definition of what the positive result is, it's always going to override that positive result and take you right back into that negative frame of mind. And I'm not only speaking this, I've dealt with this for a long time in life. That's why when I started my channel, I was very apprehensive because I would always think, well, how am I going to act if somebody challenges my looks? How am I going to act if someone challenges the way I talk? How am I going to act if someone challenges my intellect? How am I going to act if someone does this, someone does that? Well, so I set out to challenge my own self so that I wouldn't react in a negative way. Am I perfect? No. Have I reacted negatively? Of course. Do I regret it? Of course. Am I trying to do better? Yes, I am. So when somebody wants to cause problems in my life on this YouTube channel, I have to remember that this isn't real life for me. And and the sake of the matter is some people just like to be negative. Some people just like to argue. Some people just like to wallow in their own pity. Some people just like to wallow and have misery join them. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people. So that's why people come into chats or they become moderators or whatever, and they get power hungry and they want to control things because maybe they feel that they don't have control or power in their own lives. So anything that somebody says about them instantly is blown up because automatically they don't feel like their life is worth anything, anyways, which is not always true. You must wake up with a feeling of gratitude every morning. The fact that you woke up is a miracle in itself because some people didn't wake up this morning. Skill number 2 is state the problem. Identify a warning sign. You describe the situation objectively. We said objective is neither for nor against. So you look at it for what it is. And I also throw in another word there. You must be honest with yourself. Stop lying to yourself and resist the urge of self soothing thoughts. You get honest with yourself. Okay, let me describe the situation. I got to look at it for what it is, not what I want it to be or what other people are telling me. I look at it for what it is. So therefore, I'm telling myself that this is what it needs to be. You identify a risk reaction. So cause and effect. When this happens, this is how I react. You set a goal and you gather information. You identify and set a positive and realistic goal. For some people, a realistic goal is just waking up in the morning and not staying in bed. Does that make sense? A realistic goal is, you know what? Yesterday I didn't put my shoes on at all or my socks. Today I'm going to put my socks and shoes on. Yesterday I didn't walk outside one time. Today I'm going to walk outside. I didn't, those of you with animals, did you love on your animal yesterday? Well, today maybe you need to love on them. There's a whole lot of things that people don't do on a daily. Cleaning your house is one of them. I can look around this room right now and it needs a deep cleaning. And I always tell myself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then something else comes up and I say, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow doesn't ever come because I'm so worried about doing so many things that I don't simplify my day and make a compromise to be the positive result that I'm looking to seek. The next one, it said the other person's thoughts and feelings and the facts. You gather information. What are the other person's thoughts and feelings? And what are the factual things that you're seeing and hearing? Not what you think you're seeing and hearing. What are the facts of the conversation? Think and think of choices and consequences. You brainstorm your choices, you think about the consequences, and you pick a choice to get you to your goal. Many people say, I want to be a better person. We just were, we just came into a new year. Many people set that New Year's resolution or New Year's goal, whatever new me, new year. And by the time the third or fourth week, they they don't feel motivated anymore. That anger that you're feeling, Cash, doesn't always have to. You don't always have to answer to it. You know what I mean? And that's what I was saying as far as those comments that you hear in your head. You don't always have to answer the call. Sometimes let it go to voicemail. You're a good guy, man. I've seen a lot of good things that you try to do. I think a little bit you might be a little hard on yourself. Good morning, Glitter. Thank you for being here. Let's see what number 5. You make a plan. You identify who, where, and when. Who do I need to take care of? Myself. Where do I need to do it? Right now, right here. And when? What's wrong with the moment? Choose key social skills that can help you. Well, you know what? Are you a loving person? Are you a caring person? If you're that to other people, are you that way towards yourself? And if you're not, ask yourself, what keeps me from being that to myself? You identify what you will do or say because this is something that you need to understand that needs to take place spontaneous. Doesn't need to be planned out at the moment that it's happening because most people, the nonverbal cues is to shut down, cross your arm, get angry, get frustrated, and not say a word. Give the silent treatment. Identify how you would do and say it. Decide on a thought that will get you started. What's going to get this plan put in motion? And above all, you must be kind to yourself. You must be kind to yourself. Because if you can't be kind to yourself, how are you going to be kind to others? You know, there's a lot of people that rile themselves up for no other reason just to get an army of people behind their misery. Y'all have heard that saying, misery loves company, right? Well, if I'm miserable and I got on here every day and I told you about this hurting or that hurting or I had this problem or that problem because we all have problems. What makes my problems even more significant than yours is the fact that I'm on a live doing it for the whole world to see. That's what the wrong thing is because misery loves company. If you're hurting, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to say, well, you know what? I can relate to that guy. He's hurting. I understand it. I get it. But if there's a person telling you, hey, the hurt doesn't have to happen anymore, there's a way out of that hurt, there's a way out of that pain. Then all of a sudden you're like, well, I don't know. I don't know if I can believe you because I've tried it and I've failed multiple times. I don't believe in that anymore. Do you see the difference? Misery loves company. Whenever we're all in a negative mindset, there's a flock of people that are that are willing to go with you on that pain journey, so to speak. But when they're the person trying to get that flock to the other side, there's not as many that trust because of their past experiences by trusting too easily or not trusting enough or trusting too late. So instead of listening to somebody incorporate their thoughts, emotions, and feelings towards you, sometimes you have to do the journey by yourself and continue to ask questions for support. And that's what I'm telling you today. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm suggesting these things. And if they work for you, hopefully that it creates a better world for you. Do it and evaluate it. So, step 6 is you do it, you ask questions, and then you decide what to do next. Just what I said. You do it yourself, you ask questions if you don't know, and you decide on yourself what to do next. Stop with the hit or miss because the hit or miss will keep you in that cycle that we talked about a while ago for a lot of years if you're not careful. If you're not careful, you don't have to go, Cash. I don't know why you're wanting to leave. You don't have to go, buddy. You're fine. You're fine. You are fine. You do not have to leave. Everybody is welcome here. You have not created any kind of negative vibe or anything. You can stay. I want you here. Watch for situations where you've been some kind of conflict with another person, a situation where something happened that you do not like. Describe the situation and then identify your warning signs, your physical reactions, and your thoughts and feelings. And you might have to go back over this to really understand it wholeheartedly. And I keep these in my library, you know. That's why it's so important if you're going to be a channel holder to be there for your community because some of our people are bed stricken or, yeah, exactly. I agree with that. I'll agree with that wholeheartedly. That's why that's why I'm trying so hard for my own channel not to let the anger, the frustration of other people's actions dictate the reality of the people that aren't acting that way because they suffer. They suffer. You get what I'm saying? Cash, if you're willing, man, I'll have you up here on panel. You can talk to me if you're still here. I mean, I'd like that. I've always liked to, I've always wanted to meet you. And one thing that I hope people don't perceive my kindness for weakness. Because if you view kindness as weak, then that says a lot about you. It really does. You don't have to be a doormat. You don't have to be a doormat. You can have your boundaries. You can have your assertiveness. You can have all these things in place. But you don't have to be a jackass when it comes to other people not agreeing with what you feel that you're right on. Because the last time I heard, we're all in a process of learning through this thing we call life. We're all in a process of overcoming, achieving, and progressing in the little things that we have in life to overcome in our own lives. What's a problem for you might not be a problem for me, but that doesn't mean that I'm better than you know? And if I knew you in real life and if you were close and, if I knew you for a while and, I would extend that hand. Hell, I would extend it on here. I've gotten burned by people in this 1 year that I've been on this channel. I've been burned a lot by a lot of people. And I'm very cautious about who I reach out to. But I'm very mindful that the people in my chat know that I'm here for you. I might not be able to counsel you. I might not be able to reach out and help you financially or any of that, but I can listen, and that's why I do these because I believe that the community is strong enough to be able to help each other, if nothing more than a kind word. There's a lot of kindness in this chat, and I'm glad that some people feel the ability to be able to come in here and be themselves, where they don't have to put on that mask to show other people, well, I'm tough, I'm this, I'm that, I'm whatever. Because that gets old. People see right through that. You don't have to embellish your lives. You don't have to degrade yourself if you have more than other people. Just be you. If people don't like that, or people talk about that and you're insecure about that, well, guess what? Your insecurity is going to bleed right all over the chat, and people are going to pick up on that. To be kind is not to be weak. It's actually strong because it's harder to be kind than it is to be angry. It really is. She is kind of sweet for a monster, right? You're so right about that. She is kind of sweet for a monster. And true crime is very, very vicious mentally for a lot of people that deal with mental health issues because, especially on my channel, I mean, I don't try to censor anything. I use the words, I use the blood scenes, I use all that. And if you have any issues with that reenactment in your life, whether you feel that you've worked through it, sometimes it can trigger you, and I get that. But you don't have to change who you are to fit the situation, but you don't have to be ugly about it. If you don't like yourself, you don't like yourself. That's okay. But don't hate us because we try to like you. Don't use us or use this channel against other channels. I can speak for myself, and I can tell you, I'm quick at spotting game. People think that they're really quick and they're really slick. I'm good at spotting game. As I've said it multiple times, you know what? I've worked with criminal minded individuals for 20 plus years. You pick up a thing or two along the way, you know? You pick up a thing or two. And those individuals that feel that they're using my channel to get subs or whatever, I see what you're doing. I may have not said anything about it, but you know what? I've worked hard for this channel. Why don't you put in the legwork as well? You might actually get a great channel if you stop portraying yourself to be better than the normal person. I put my initials after my name there for a while, and then I thought, you know what? That's stupid. That is stupid. Take those initials off because those don't define you. Your journey in life defines you. So I got an education. What if I didn't? Did that make me better than anybody else? Hell no, it doesn't. You know what I mean? It doesn't. It does not. I'd rather somebody be defined by the character of their heart and their mind rather than be characterized by the initials after their names or the education that they portray they have. And I understand that it's hard work to get that education, but it doesn't make you better than anybody. You know? It doesn't. And there's a lot of people that have a lot of life experiences that education can never catch up to. Because I can tell you, people that have ever had any kind of trauma, hurt, and pain, abandonment, those type things early on in life, they got a head start on those who are learning about it right after high school, going through college and going and getting their bachelor's and master's and doctorates and all this other stuff. And if you've never been experiencing any of those things, how could you ever understand somebody who is actually telling you about those things? I have people in my chat that have been um, violently attacked. They've been homeless. They've been, all kinds of things. So when we talk about true crime, and they're able to understand that because they understand what it's like to be attacked. They understand the difference between an attack in real life and a movie attack. They understand the horror and the violence of trying to overcome an addiction. They understand all these things. So when people are talking about it, there's levels of that as well. I always tell myself, or I tell you guys, I am a recovering alcoholic. Does that make me better than those that drink every day? No, it does not. Because I'm only one situation away from that. In my mind, whatever you think about alcoholism or whatever, that's your thought pattern. But in my mind, I can't go there because I know how bad it was for my life. I'm not commenting on anybody else's life. I know how bad it was for me. Man, I was losing everything and everyone, and the most important thing is I was losing touch with reality because I was thinking that nobody cared, nobody wanted me, nobody cared about me, and I was going to make you feel my hatred towards you because I viewed the hatred that I thought that you felt toward me. You get what I'm saying? So I had to turn all that around. Was it easy? No, it wasn't. It wasn't easy. Hell, it's still not easy, even after all these years. Do I get depressed? Do I get anxious? Of course I do. Hell, some of you may have seen it on my lives. You can see when I'm anxious. You can see when I'm angry. You can see, well, I've never been angry. I've been aggressive. There's a difference. Nobody's ever seen me angry on here. I've been aggressive. But as far as the other emotional things, I deal with them just the same as what I'm talking about. And I always believe that the best teachers are the ones that overcome their own demons. Because if you can overcome your own demons, that means that you're able to teach somebody else how to do it. You're able to show somebody so they can show somebody so they can show somebody. I don't believe in those that are just telling me how to do it and not showing me how to do it. I've had a lot of therapists, exposure, and people with higher education than I that have always made me, they've tried to talk down to you because they feel that their intellect will overcome any kind of life issue that somebody may have, you know? And that's not always true. That's not always true. I'm enjoying y'all's comment this morning. Thank you for being so open. My old man was a raging addict. He nodded out and hit a parked car on the interstate doing over 100 miles an hour. Dies twice, is now 80% metal. I keep telling him he needs to start a recovery channel. That would be great. I'd sub. That'd be great. See, I tried to do an addiction channel. My other channel had a different name, but that it's hard enough running this true crime channel, you know. That's awesome. That's awesome. Those 2 years are hard, so I know. I was pretty messed off for about 5 years. When I got sober, it took about 5 years for my mental brain, the medication they had me on, and all that stuff to finally start turning it back around and getting my brain to stop spinning. Always used to tell people because they'd ask me, "Well, how are you?" And I used to always tell them, "Hey, I'm crawling in my skin, man. I got a crawling feeling in my skin." And when Linkin Park came out with that song "Crawling," that was my mantra. Crawling in my skin, these wounds, they will not heal. I could relate to Chester more than he realized. I mean, I was lost in that turmoil. I was lost in all that world of hatred, pain, discomfort, distortion, illusion. Jelly Roll has that song "Save Me." I still listen to that song as if I was back in 2004, still struggling for sobriety. Because, like they say in the rooms, you constantly look around that door and make sure that that's you that you're looking at because you never forget it because it helps you grow, but you never close the door on it. You don't ever say, "Hey, I'm better than this person, that person. There's no way because I got this much time." Yeah, R.I.P. Chester. I love Chester Bennington, man. That song was my mantra. Crawling in my skin, these wounds they will not heal. Fear is how I fall. Something is real. Something in this world is real. You know, Stained, the Break the Cycle album, Epiphany, Outside, all those songs. Those started my journey, man. I used to listen to music nonstop that I could not put into words. I journaled too, Cash. I journaled for about 20 plus years. I still journal. And I need to listen to that song, Dead Skin. I've never heard it. Never judge the Fisher King. It's interesting how music can get you through some tough times, but it can also keep you stuck sometimes as well. Like I'd get angry and I'd listen to Happy by Mudvayne. And if you know that song at all, you know damn well that that song's not going to make you happy. It's going to piss you off to the point where you just want to put somebody's head through the wall. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Anybody know that song Happy by Mudvayne? If you don't know that song, look it up and you'll understand what I'm talking about after this live. Because, man, that song, I used to turn that song on and be like, oh, people would hear that song blaring, they'd know what kind of mood I was in. It'd be like, okay, we're not messing with 12 today. We're not messing with him today. Let's let him calm down a little bit. And it's sad, and I'm kind of ashamed to talk about myself that way. But it is my journey. It has been my journey. I'm not ashamed of it, you know? Melissa D, yeah. So you know that song by Mudvayne, Happy. I can't even say the word. I just listen to the guitar riffs and everything, and you're like, man, that just get that blood going. Or Faint by Linkin Park. I wish I could play this music on here without being copyrighted. It really would give you an understanding of the mental state that I was in at one point. Faint by Linkin Park. Never Be Ashamed of by Yasin. Yeah, music can change or break. If I'm depressed, I force myself to go to random happy songs to flip your mind. That's true. That's true. Unless you're a proper nasty person, then you should be ashamed. What's Leslie? Hey, Leslie and Billy, how y'all doing? I saw y'all in here. I've been yapping away. I haven't had a chance to say hello. Guess what 12 gauge was first on panel? First time I ever went on panel, just saying. Well, there was a time when I used to open up this live and there used to be 3 people in it. 3 people. And I'd be so happy that those 3 people were there because they were there to listen to whatever I had to say, no matter what or how it was said. They were there to listen, and it meant a lot. Yeah, I love music myself. The only reason I don't have it playing when I'm live is I don't want to copyright. I cannot remember how I found 12. Who I found 12 via. Well, it doesn't matter how you got here. You're here now, so we're happy that you're here. If it isn't music, some people like art. Some people like, I tried pottery, like not pottery, but like, what the hell? My mind went blank. What the hell is that stuff that you put clay? Like you put on that thing like in Ghost and she used to mold it into a pot and all that. Yeah, I've tried that before. It didn't go so well. Yeah, music is art. You're right. It is. It is art. Hello, B&B. Glad you're here. Music can bring you through a lot of situations. I used to write, yeah, clay. I used to write poetry as part of my journaling. Some of my poetry was pretty out there. Ceramics, yeah. I used to try to do all that because they tell you, hey, do this, do that. It's going to calm your mind. Do you believe that my mind can be calmed? It is actually calm right now. Not running as fast as it usually does, but the way that I learn to trick people about myself is I have a calm looking demeanor on the outside, just so they'll never know how fast my mind is racing on the inside. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all can relate to that, but that's how I tried to trick people in the past is I can look at you like I'm calm, but on the inside my brain is moving a mile a minute. I don't know if y'all can understand that or not, but if you can, thank you for that. Because it's hard to be calm. Like I've told you guys in the past, I used to be one of those people that my leg would have been moving 100 miles a minute. And people are like, well, what's wrong with you? Why is your leg shaking like that? Nothing's wrong with me. Well, why is your leg shaking? Um, I don't know. I don't know. I never knew, you know? Never knew why. I'm gonna play that song that I was playing at the intro while I look for this, so there's not a lot of dead time. I hope y'all enjoy it because I like that song for some reason. It's talking about shadows. And if you've been a tweaker or a geeker, that's not the type of shadows it's talking about. So y'all listen to this song and tell me what you think about the words. Hopefully it's not too loud and you can understand it. It's one of Oh shit. Really?
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying out its prayer. Why are we so ashamed to be alive? Break the chains and our freedom's ours to take. you back. Chase the light when the world is getting darker. I have a dream where love's the only side. So take my hand, join the army of the shadows. Going harder, we are more than numbers, standing in this shade. Going louder, we are all one color, standing in their way. Join the army of the shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Shadows, shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Join the army of the shadows. Going harder. We are more than numbers, standing in their shade.
So, what do y'all think that song means? What do y'all thought? What do y'all think that song means? You think she's talking about issues that we deal with as people? I believe so. Yeah, music is strong, man. Okay, I'm gonna share with you if I can get this freaking mouse to work right. I'm gonna share with you a poem I wrote. Come on. I swear I always have technical difficulties when I'm trying to do something. Here, I'm gonna share a poem with y'all. Don't be too harsh. It said, to the addicted and uncharmed, life of the world we often want, more than the land or bodies should endure. Then we place blame on others to justify our illicit behavior of our fellow man, only to realize it's our own body or mind that beats out of rhythm. But we will not accept accountability or creed to our awful shortcomings we bring to the table of life. It's not about helping purity or purify the world. Hold on a second. Good Lord. It's not to purify the world. We sometimes seem preoccupied with destroying it and ourselves in the name of greed and envy, deceit, or false pretense. But again, we rationalize this behavior with a smile or a kiss. From the neighbor's wife as we juggle the credit card in front of the homeless man, and then we wonder why he ills to kill, all in the name of survival. And the venom that bestows your head. It's the head he must crush because God told early man to do such, to be a reminder of the fruit of good and evil that he shouldn't have touched or eaten. Maybe then we wouldn't be all so full of cynicism and hatred for our fellow man. So when you reach into that cup you call life, ask yourself this: is your money really more important than what other souls are starving for? Or can it really buy you into heaven? It's the soul that is empty, and the green in your pocket can't mend the blemishes and scars inside you. Remember scars? Ask Jesus. I bet he does. Why let his dying for us be all in vain, as we all want to suffer with so much pain? And that was just one of the entries when I was starting to really come out of the fog. I was coming out of the poor me stuff. I was just really getting into that. I want to move on and move past. And I was having the spiritual battle. I was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And some days I'd have good days, and then I've had 3 bad days. And on those 3 bad days, I thought, you know what? All this crap ain't worth it. I need to go back to the way I used to be because my addiction wanted me back. And I was so weak with limited support, I succumbed very easily. So, thank you very much for all the compliments. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a fine line. It really is. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this live this morning. Um, I hope you've enjoyed it because I really wanted to do something different than true crime. I'm trying not to let this platform jade me from people because there's a lot of broken people on these platforms. And how can I identify that? Because I myself have been broken. But there's a difference between them and me. They will never be me because I've done the work. I haven't been afraid to change. And whether they've done the work or they're afraid to change or they're not, obviously they enjoy where they're at or they do something different. There's a lot of people that are working hard to get better, and I commend you for that. I tip my hat to you. Keep going. Keep going. Don't quit. Don't let those bad days become your existence. Because that one day that you're having good, try to understand that that's what your life is going to be one day if you keep going forward. Those bad days are just you cleansing, getting all those things out of you. We don't realize that when it's happening, but that's what's happening is we're letting all that stuff out and slowly integrating the good. And sometimes we fight the good because we don't know what it is. We don't trust in it. We don't trust in it. And I assure you, hopefully as I'm talking, things will change for you. And I'm very thankful and grateful that you trust me enough to speak to you on these lives to be a strength, hope, and experience because that's all I'm trying to be. Yes, I wrote that. And thank you very much for your kind comments. This is really who I am. I struggle with the true crime stuff because I'm not proficient at it. I know I do pretty good, but I'm not an expert by no means. The self-help, the counseling, the therapist, that's my forte. That's who I am. That's my livelihood. That's what I've been for 20 plus years. And not only have I worked on my own issues, I've tried to help other people work through theirs. You know, I've tried to help people work through theirs. And if you are lurking and you don't feel strong enough to come into the chat, do understand that I try really hard to keep people in this chat from not harming other people or themselves while they're in this chat. I've talked to the moderators about certain people that come in here and to be watching them and not let them ruin the chat because I believe honesty is the best medicine that we could potentially ever have on this earth. You can't be honest with yourself. You're going to be creating drama and chaos everywhere you go. So, thank you for so much for this, and I hope that y'all have a lovely Saturday evening, Saturday morning, and Frank was in here a while ago. I think he said he's about to go live in about an hour. Um, why don't y'all go check him out? I'm not sure what he's talking about, but hopefully it's something good that can continue to build people up because he had that capacity. He had that capacity. It's just him, like myself. We have people that just want to tear us down, but we've both been through traumatic experiences in our lives that have built us up strong enough to endure. And I hope that you see that because just because I'm nice on here, just because I'm cordial and I don't cuss and I don't go after people all the time, I'm not a lightweight either. I have the capacity to defend 12 gauge. That's one of the reasons I chose that name. But anyways, I'm not gonna huff and puff and beat my chest because there's no need for it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that y'all go listen to some good music, drink you some coffee, drink you a cold drink, whatever it is, and just know that you matter no matter what. Whatever you're going through, it's only a moment in time. Take care of your freedom and take care of your life because once they're gone, we can't get those back. And at this point, this is what I say. What do I say? At the end of my lives, does anybody know? Does anybody pay attention when I'm saying it? What do I say? When I'm about to end alive, what do I say? Does anybody know? What the last word did I say to you guys? Maestro, cue that music.